Lots of you tune in today. It's New Year's Eve. We're going into 2026. And I figured I'd do a bit of a live show today because, I'm getting used to this Streamlabs thing a little bit better, and hopefully it works out. Let me know if there's any issues in the comments. But I think it's important because this holiday season, this Christmas season, it's just been one thing after another trying to keep things all together. And I didn't get out a video today, so I wanted to make sure that we got a little bit of a conversation going, and I'm able to reach a bunch of you that are watching, and hopefully, we get some questions answered, and we can look into some interesting stories in the news. But of course, as always, starting this off, I have to remind people that, we're independent media, but we are not falling for the same old tricks of the, mainstream alternative media, nor obviously the mainstream. And if any help is possible, we truly appreciate it on all of our videos other than this one, because I can't seem to make it work on our live streams. We have our GoGetFunny.com Patreon and Subscribe Star, and we accept tips on Rumble at World Alternative Media. I urge everyone that's watching, definitely subscribe on Rumble and BitChute, of course, but we're unable to go live at this moment on BitChute. But subscribing on Rumble helps a lot. We are right now posting this directly to Rumble Live. We're on YouTube Live at World Alternative Media. We are on Facebook, and we are on X at World Alt Media. And let us know what you guys want to talk about, and we will. I'm not going to ring in the new year. I'm not going to do this all night, but obviously I want to be able to connect to as many of you as possible. We have some comments coming in on YouTube. People in the comments have issues, says the Salt Lakers. Yeah, well, if some websites are worse than others, but yeah, I get a lot of trolling, and that's okay. I'm used to it. Oh, by the way, if you haven't yet already, hit that like button and share on social media. It helps us get out into the algorithm. Liking the video definitely makes a difference, and commenting helps make a difference as well. Tora Poddle says, seen Trace Mayer since Unconfiscatable 2020? No, I have not. I last saw him. I did an interview with him, I think November of 2019. And he disappeared the next day. It was really strange, and I don't have any more information on that than you do, because the whole thing was extremely strange. He promoted crypto at the end of the video randomly that I knew nothing about. I didn't know he was going to do it, and then it went viral online, millions of views, a clip of him talking to me, and then he was never seen again. So, yeah, that's weird. He was one of the most famous people in crypto at the time, and he approached me and says, Josh, I love your work. Can you please do an interview with me? And I was a big fan of him at that point, about, the way that he understood the market. So I did it, and yeah, very strange indeed. I'm going to check out what is going on Rumble here. If you haven't yet already, we are live on Rumble, I do believe. So make sure to comment on there if you are watching, and again, press like on the video. So far, I'm the only like on the video on Rumble. So, and if the stream goes down, I do apologize. We had an issue last time I went live and it stayed up on YouTube and X and Facebook. No, it stayed up on Rumble, X, and Facebook. YouTube randomly went down and said due to slow internet, but that. It's just very strange because we didn't have an internet issue at all. It was just YouTube. Always concerning. We lose subscribers every day on YouTube, despite, even on the days where we don't post. And it's very strange indeed because, of course, when we are leaving or losing subscribers, I get messages every single day. Hey, what happened? Where have you gone? What happened? Why did I get unsubscribed? I don't know, my friends. You have to ask YouTube, because YouTube unsubscribes people regularly, and I have no doubt they'll probably try and take down this stream as well. But I wanted to, at least while I still can, while the internet is working on YouTube's side, to be able to talk to a bunch of you guys out there. So again, send in your comments. We have a few people coming in right now. The Salt Laker says there's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again." George W. Bush. Yeah, we all remember that. It was back when you could be a warmonger and funny, and it wasn't like end times like we're kind of seeing today, but it felt like it at the time with the Iraq War. Okay, I want to check to make sure that things are going smoothly on Facebook. And so I'm going to check on my profile here. Okay, it says I'm live. Good. Donald says on Facebook, hello from Calgary. It's so good to see you, Donald. And again, no matter where you are, hit that like button because it helps. I'm going to check X now at World Alt Media. It says we are live. I hope I don't use up too much internet clicking on all these live video feeds. I'm going to have to shut one down right away so that I don't get overwhelmed or my internet doesn't get overwhelmed. I am in Mexico. It's good internet, but still, it's Mexico. So, you know. Okay. And on Rumble, we got some comments coming in. J Prince 024 says, hi, Josh. Love your work. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone that's been watching. Countess De Winter says on Rumble, Due Dissidents is saying the Nick Shirley Somali thing is a psyop. What do you think? Of course it is. Well, any major story in the news, it's not that it's not true. Obviously, Somalis are taking advantage of a system, but it's by design. It was made that way. It was built that way. And it's all part of, obviously, the push for race wars, which they want, especially in 2026, 2027, civil unrest. I'm not saying there's going to be a civil war. I'm saying that there is going to be a manufactured cultural crisis, and it allows them to come in with new security measures and more surveillance, mass surveillance. I just finished a video almost 2 hours long with Tim Pachote at the Liberty Advisor, and we went over our predictions for 2026. That video should be out tomorrow, assuming all goes as planned. But yeah, we're getting that video out tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to getting those predictions for you. I think we've done it 8 years in a row now for January 1st. And we went into a bit of that stuff, like just the manufactured civil unrest going into 2026. J Prince 024 says, how's South America? Minnesota is frigid. Well, Central America is good. Mexico, you know, right now it's beautiful. It's beautiful. In Fahrenheit, we're sitting at around like 74, 75. And it's nice. J Prince 024 says, I live in Minnesota. The corruption is obviously there, but it's just distracting the bigger issues. Absolutely. And it's just like, honestly, this constant talk about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, and then Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro and all this shit. Like the whole idea is to keep people's eyes off of the main issue and the main solutions, which are you as an individual breaking free from the chains that so many revere in this collectivist paradigm. I'm going to check on YouTube here again. Actually, I haven't actually opened the page on YouTube. I get some of it going through Streamlabs. It shows me some of the latest, so I need to refresh and get this going so I can see what you guys are saying over on YouTube. Here we go. And oh my goodness, they changed my thumbnail on me. So let me just quickly change the thumbnail again on YouTube so it gives a proper thumbnail. Because it's just showing an image of my face in mid-sentence. That's always good. Great for marketing. All right. Saved, and let me go and check once it eventually loads here. All right. Good times. You know, YouTube gives me the most problems of any streaming service. So if you're just joining us, hit that like button as we load this up so I can check out all of your questions here. All right. Please let me open the video. There we go. Cool. Got it going here. Okay, so we got a lot of comments coming in on YouTube. Again, if you aren't on Rumble, make sure to subscribe to us there. Okay, so Doug209 says, yo. Says, good saying. Tora Hoddle says, 70 million reward for some marine-based company if they find it. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with Trace Mayer. That was just a very strange thing in 2019. Again, I haven't talked to him since. A lot of people accuse me of being involved, though. I didn't know. We were just going to be talking about Bitcoin. We start doing an interview, and at the end, he starts talking about this Mimble-Wimble coin, and next thing I know, there's a huge pump and dump, and I'm like, okay. He disappears and is never seen again. The whole thing was strange. Doug209 says, interesting. I feel like it's everywhere at the same time as Somaliland. Yeah, Somaliland. There's a certain reason why I don't cover certain stories. Some people go, why haven't you talked about this or that? And the main reason is because I just don't want to. When everyone is talking about something, I don't like to put a bunch of weight behind it. I want to see what else is happening that we might be getting distracted from. Jonah Curry 387 waved and says, Happy New Year, everyone. Well, Happy New Year, everyone, as well. Absolutely. I'm we got to be happy. Obviously, we're walking into a dragon's den with 2026. It's not like everything's going to get better overnight, but it comes down to us making our own decisions in life in order to prepare as an individual. But yeah, it's not like 2026 is going to be, skipping through a rose field here. Well, actually, that would suck. You'd get pricks. So skipping through a field of, let's say, carnations. I don't know. Okay, David 1977 says on YouTube, Josh, what is the difference between digital government ID and social security numbers or social insurance numbers in Canada? There's not much of a big difference other than the fact that this would be attached to what you are or are not allowed to eat, what sites you're allowed to access on the internet, your electricity, your carbon credit scores, all these things that will allocate what you are allowed to you based on your score. So yeah, it is coming from that same exact angle. However, the overall agenda with the digital infrastructure is that you will then be forced into this system where you, obviously with the social insurance number or social security in the United States, you are able to go to the store and buy 50 pounds of meat if you want to. In the future, that won't be possible with this digital infrastructure. And also just going from country to country. Have you ever shown your social security number to enter a country? Now, of course, I know where that comes in when it comes to obviously getting a passport, which is a whole other argument to talk about as well. But when it comes to, going over the border or perhaps going through toll roads, you don't have to show that kind of stuff. You will have to show your digital ID. And they're already mandating this in Missouri when it comes to the new digital ID for age verification, which again, obviously we don't want children watching pornography, but we also cannot say for a second that we are protecting people with a Trojan horse, which will eventually lead to you having to show your identification to use the internet in general, which they will be able to. I mean, obviously there's Tor and there's ways to get around this, VPNs, but eventually there'll be a UN resolution passed, I'm pretty sure of this, under the guise of saving you from cyber attacks and all that kind of the false flag nonsense. But also, it'll be utilized in order to force you to, when they sever underwater cables in a time of war, use Starlink. XAI is working with the Pentagon right now. X Money is working with with Visa, and X, the app, is currently shadow banning anyone that they deem negative and creating an algorithm based around social credit. And this is by a guy who wants to put chips in your head attached to a Pentagon-funded mesh network. So, the based guy that's super anti-establishment, not so much. Okay, let me see. Got a bunch of stuff coming in. The real Darth Ancap says, "Good evening, everyone. Josh, sup?" Not too much. Just a lot of work. And I plan on going out a little bit later and watching some fireworks with some friends. And it's one of those days of the year where you have to work really hard not to end up poisoning yourself with alcohol, because it's like everyone it's such a weird part of the culture, poison yourself going into the new year. So I'm going to do my best to be very vigilant on that. I don't know how vigilant I'll be. I might have, a celebratory drink with some people, but I want to stay away from entering a new year on a bad note. And unfortunately, with the parties, I'm in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. The parties are crazy. And it's like, it's Party City. I lived in Vegas before. There's more parties here than there was in Vegas. Okay, let me see. The real Darth Ancap says, "I need to stop talking about everything. I'm getting super aggro." Haha. Well, Crypto Canuck 1537 says, "Are you going to Anarchapulco?" Yep. And if you go to anarchapulco.com, by the way, and use code WAM, WAM, you'll get 10% off on your tickets, so I hope you use that. It's here in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It's super easy to get to, February 15th to 20th, and it's going to be amazing. I'll be speaking there. Dan Dix is speaking there, our good friend. Jeff Berwick, Gareth Ike, David Ike, Craig Reese, Dr. Andrew Kaufman, Max Egan. It's going to be amazing. I urge you to use my code if you go. I'm looking forward to doing my speech. Well, actually, I hate doing speeches, but I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there nonetheless. The Salt Laker says Somaliland, crappy rides and really expensive. Yeah. Elmaton 761 says, "Hey Josh, have you heard anything about the digital ID that is being brought to Mexico?" Yeah, in January they are rolling this out with the biometrics for CURP, which is for like your tax identification number and stuff like that. I don't have one of those, so I'm able to get around that a bit. But I mean, they are trying to go cashless in places, most notably that are generally not cashless. and anti-cashless and family-oriented and traditional and conservative, like Mexico. There's so many psyops going on, and they're also pushing for war with Mexico in 2026 alongside Venezuela under the guise of stopping cartels that are armed and funded by the CIA and blaming Iran and Russia and China for this, as I've talked about in many videos. So with that, I believe that they're just readying it to pull the rug out, and you already have the so-called solution for national security reasons, which will enslave you further to the digital system. I need to check Rumble here. I'm sure I must have something coming in on Rumble by now. And by the way, if you're watching on any of these, hit that like button and definitely share. It helps us reach the algorithm, because right now Rumble says I have 16 viewers. That is really low for the amount of subscribers I have, but it's hard to reach people sometimes on Rumble these days. It's very strange. Though not as bad as YouTube. Let me see. RMP 2021 says Timothy Charles Homeseth reveals Shirley as a deep state operative. I need to look into that. I've watched a lot of the videos and the confrontational ones, and then on the alternative, the rabid leftists screeching at them, calling them ICE. It's so silly. I've seen a lot of it. I need to really get focused on that as well. So I'm gonna be spending more time in the new year researching Nick Shirley, which, by the way, I've heard of him before and I've seen him before, and I've been racking my brain trying to figure out how I know the guy. I feel like I've met him at events. I feel like I've talked to him, and I feel like I've seen his videos. So I don't know. And to be fair, if he was totally legit, maybe they're just using him. But I'd like to look into this deep state operative stuff. If they're just using him, if we're looking at that side, I have to say I started off as a local activist in Winnipeg, Canada, confronting politicians and exposing a child trafficking ring and exposing the premier, which is Canada's version of a governor, and going after these people. And it was rough, and I had people try to break my windows, people pour things in my gas tank, people punch me in the streets, throw things at me walking down the street. Things do get really crazy, and then again, I have to say, no matter how big the news stories I broke in Winnipeg that would, usually put people in jail, no one talked about them and no one commented on them. Whereas the president's talking about it. Trump has shared one of my videos once in late 2015 when I interviewed Juanita Broderick, or early February 2016, I should say. But what I did was, because I'm against all leaders, and I've stayed consistent on that, when I got a huge amount of new subscribers and followers and stuff on social media and on YouTube because of Trump sharing my video, I immediately started calling out things I didn't like about him and how I think that he's a far leftist in this way, and he pushes collectivism in this way, and he isn't consistent in that way. And people got mad at me. I mean, I don't know if they're laughing now because everything is very evident. Are we winning when you gives Big Pharma $7 billion under the guise of stopping Big Pharma, giving Pfizer all this money to prop them up, to make them free of legal, consequences? When you're propping up Ozempic to the extent that you are, when you're, putting $500 billion into AI and then another $1 trillion in the big beautiful bill into AI infrastructure for nuclear arms and militarism, when you're saying that you're the peace president while bombing Iran and giving weapons to Israel to preemptively strike them, while going after Venezuela over drugs that the U.S. shipped in the first place. Fentanyl comes from China through the border over Juarez by CIA operatives into the U.S. That's why you don't see fentanyl in Mexico, where I live. And then on top of that, the Epstein files are an obvious one. It's a CIA and Mossad, largely more Mossad than anything, honeypot operation. And of course, we could go on and on and on. Trillions of dollars printed. I mean, it's just crazy. And I refuse to fall for, and this barely scratches the surface, I refuse to fall for this mass surveillance. I call out Obama for it. I call out Biden for it. I call out Bush for it. Why can't we call out Trump for it? When he's putting up cameras with facial recognition and license plate readers on every highway to decide if people are criminals before they commit a crime, preemptive crime, for suspicious driving activities. It's crazy. 5 years of social media history to enter the country, 10 years of email, IP addresses, photo metadata, iris scans, and biometrics. How is this winning? How is this anti-establishment? And I get in shit for that. I shan't dare speak of the man who is obviously super anti-establishment while taking money from Israel and bombing foreign countries. Like all the rest of them, by the way. This isn't this or them. This isn't what about. So anyway, the real Darth Ancap says they just gave Israel another huge bundle of money. Absolutely. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. And they're talking about how they're already doing strikes in Venezuela, and they're talking about how they want to do strikes inside Mexico. Absolutely insane. Let's see. The real Darth Ancap says 865 have sober looks better on everyone. Yeah, I agree. It's not easy in this day and age to stay completely sober when in the face of just like constant mental stress and anguish. Doug209 says just 10 drinks. Yeah, just 10 drinks. I mean, that's honestly going to be what a lot of people are going to do. I'm just going out for a few tonight for New Year's and ring in the New Year with 10 drinks and a headache in the morning. Or in my case, I don't get headaches. What I end up with is high blood pressure, and I don't need that. It's terrifying. If you have high blood pressure and your blood pressure goes high, you know what I mean. Horrible, horrible feeling. Doug209 says just subbed on Rumble. Thank you, Doug. And he also says Nick seems like a cool guy. I wonder who his source was. Yeah. It's a good question, really. Long-lived coin says Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. The eerie fairy tale says most people don't like admitting they were wrong or were tricked. Absolutely. And also people feel comfortable being in their clique. People want to be in their niche. People want to be in their group, their social construct. And this is the way they get people. They did it with COVID. They're doing it. They did it with the climate scam. They did it with the trans scam. They do it on the other side as well. I mean, and it's like, okay, well, I felt alone in this world, but now I'm supporting Trump, so therefore I have this group that I feel like I can be close to, and I'll look for confirmation bias in order to keep myself in tune with that. And it is a cult because all forms of politics go back to cultism and statism and, of course, collectivism. So absolutely, people just want to feel included. We're living in a very lonely culture. Let's be honest. So anyway, let me just see what we got on Rumble. We got some more people coming in. Max Postal says hello from BC, Canada. Hello to you, Max. I'm guessing that's your name. I was just in British Columbia back in May. Beautiful place. I don't know how anyone affords to live there, but in the rural communities, it's still decent as far as that goes. Ohio Chuz says I hate homos. Okay, well, good for you. What do you want? I feel like some people try to make me say things so that they could hit me later and report me, but I'm just reading what you're saying. Countess De Winter says, do you speak Spanish? Well, Vance Musk are backing Shirley. Due Dissidents is saying it's all about Somaliland and used it to dump over 1 million Palestinians and used it as a proxy against Yemen. Absolutely. And by the way, as far as Spanish, yes, I'm not fluent, but I'm not basic either. I'm in the middle. I'm down the line. I get by very well. I mean, I've been here for almost 6 years. If I didn't know enough to get by, that would be pretty stupid. But I always say, yo entiendo mucho, pero español es segundo más rápido en el mundo. Necesito más lento o estoy estúpido. Basically, it's the second fastest language in the world. And obviously, I know a lot of it, but I need people to go slow or else I sound stupid. And I think that's fair. It's the whole language, the grammar, and everything is complete opposite of English. Ohio Chess says, sorry, I'm not clip farming my bee. Okay, sure. Doug209 says the coordinated timing with Somaliland can't be a coincidence. Yeah, well, I mean, all these stories, they all come out at the right time for a reason, and it's the same time that we're also seeing the mass deportations. We're seeing what happened with the National Guard in D.C. And, of course, with that, the guy who did it, they claim, the father and son, no, sorry, that was Bondi. The guy who shot the National Guard soldiers in D.C. was in a secret CIA Zero unit. Even the New York Times acknowledges this. And he was a child soldier for the CIA by the age of 14 and was shipped secretly to the United States under a CIA program. I mean, it's just blatant. They don't even try to hide it. Bondi Beach, they say, oh, well, look, it was all about going after Iran. That's what Israel said moments after the news broke. Yet the guy was a Wahhabi from Afghanistan. They hate Iran. They hate Shias. It's a totally different thing. It's absurd. And yet the Australian government also acknowledged that they knew about the attack like months before it happened. Sounds like October 7th. So again, I just don't trust anything I'm told. All right. We only have 42 people out of 148,000 people watching on YouTube right now, it says. If you want to see shadow banning, my friends, this is it. And especially on a holiday where a lot of people are home. Kind of weird, right? But alas, I'm used to it. Again, hit that like button so at least we could reach some people. It's just funny. With 23 likes and 43 watching, makes no sense. Yeah, it's just the usual. It's the usual. I'm going to check Facebook real quick here. Ruth Daly says, hello from Panama, Canadian born. Hello, Ruth. Good to see you. I have about 10,000 followers on Facebook, and I have 3 people watching live. Isn't that great? Isn't that just awesome? Let me just make sure that it goes out publicly, because it looks to me like they're making it so it only friends on Facebook can see it, and I want it to be public. I'm so sick of these issues. I have these problems all the time on all these platforms, and I don't see any option to make it open for everyone. So I guess I'm just going to be stuck with this video being only available for friends to see. Great. Hakeem Matthew Del Gallo Suleimani says, I'm here, bro. Northern California, Eureka. Good to see you. I've been to Eureka before. All right. Well, hope is lost on Facebook actually showing people the video, because, yeah, they're only letting my friends on Facebook see it and not my followers. I mean, just so silly. Let me check out X for a moment. I'm seeing nothing in the chat. If you've messaged me on the chat, I'm sorry, I don't see it. I'll leave it open for now, and hopefully, if you're watching on X right now, say something. All right. Everything seems to be going as planned. I don't know if I'm going into news or not today. I like answering the questions because it kind of follows the news anyway. And going into the new year, we've got a lot. I shouldn't say look forward to, but a lot on the near timeline that we need to be prepared for. By the way, I see a message from 1439315 says super chat not an option. No, YouTube banned me from it, but it is an option still on Rumble. So people could donate on Rumble. I really appreciate the donations and the super chats on Rumble, because YouTube cut me off in May 2020 from that before banning me for 5 years starting in October of 2020. So I am basically not allowed to make money anywhere. So if you watch on Rumble and you want to send super chats, we definitely appreciate that. And as always, subscribe on Rumble, hit the like button and all that. I've said it a million times, but every time I do it, I see 1 or 2 more come in, and I just want to make sure we get into the algorithm. Yeah, Doug209 says, 3 people on Facebook. Let's go. Yeah, hell yeah. 3 people. I feel like I'm in my, even the first day I ever made a video for WAM back in March of 2013. Crazy that it's coming up on 13 years now. Even back then, I was getting more views on my first ever video. Like, I still got like 100 to 150 views. It took me years of getting nothing, basically, to get it out there. But nonetheless, I still got more than some of the stuff I'm getting now. The real Darth Ancap says, how wild does Anarchapulco get? Pretty wild, but it depends. I mean, there is a family-oriented part of it. There is a lot of kids there, and there's a economic side and the different courses, and then there's the hardcore anarchist part, the speakers, and then absolutely massive parties. But you don't have to go to the parties if you don't want to, and I think a lot of them come with a VIP thing anyway. So, yeah. 1439315, what a name, says, your Rumble channel listed above. I can't post. I don't know why. It won't let me put the link in the description of YouTube videos, or it doesn't show the video to anyone. But World Alternative Media on Rumble. Yeah. The Eerie Fairy Tale says, it's interesting. YouTube recently brought back a bunch of channels that were exiled in 2020. Feels like set up, or maybe I'm just cynical. Oh, you're right. They brought me back. And Doug209 says testing on X, by the way. I see it. Thank you. Yeah, they brought me back. And I said from the beginning, they're using it as machine learning to see what people are watching and what people are doing. It's too late anyway, so don't get too afraid of this. You're already on the list. But it's machine learning to figure out what people are watching, get people to feel more free to say certain things like they are on X right now, to then bring it into the social credit umbrella later on. The fact that they let me back on, it was very strange. James Corbett got let back on because he tried a trick. He used the original email that got him taken down a couple years ago and appealed from there. They never allowed you to appeal from the channel or from the email, but they allow you to appeal from the original email that you got when it happened. So I went back in my email. Luckily, I saved it from October 2020, and I found the email, and I appealed from there. I was staying at Dan Dix of Press for Truth's house at the time, and he did it as well, and it all went back up. Is crazy. And yeah, with London Real, that's an interesting one because London Real got taken down because of WAM videos. They started taking our videos. We never gave them permission, but I was happy to let them do it because they had a big audience. They were taking our videos and reposting them on their YouTube channel. And they're posting my videos on like apricot seeds and stuff, which I can't talk about on YouTube at all. Even just a mere mention could get me taken down. Links are on Rumble on our regular videos, but they mentioned, or they started sharing those videos, and they immediately got taken down. They got 3 strikes in one day because they were sharing our videos. And I was like, all right, like, that's on you. I told them, like, that's on you. Don't blame us. So yeah, it's interesting that they're back now. And it was the only time we were on YouTube for a while because they were sharing that while we were banned over those years. So we definitely appreciate it. David Icke is a friend of mine. Love the guy. I hope he's actually coming in person at Anarchapulco. I don't know yet about that. I'm pretty sure Gareth is, who is also a good friend. But I don't know if David is coming. I hope he is. But he's speaking there one way or another. Okay, let me see. And sorry to say it again, but we need all the help we can get in 2026. You can do, tips and, what do you call it, super chats on Rumble over at World Alternative Media with comments, and we appreciate that because we kind of need it because we are making like not enough to even cover my rent right now. So I appreciate all the help we can get. Same with Go Get Funding, Patreon, and Subscribestar. Let me see. Doug209 says Pam Bondi Beach. Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Weg the Tail says you never do live shows, Josh. Yeah, well, because I wasn't able to for a long time. My computer is terrible. It's years outdated. It could crash at any moment, and just doing this risks it. And for a while when I was at another house in Puerto Vallarta, the internet just wasn't working. It just suddenly stopped working for me, and it was impossible to do. And, and I also didn't have the equipment to do it. Using Streamlabs and everything works a lot better. So I got that, and I'm working it out. I like doing lives. I mean, I did more lives in 2020, I think, than I did recorded videos in 2020 because the news was happening so fast. I wanted to always be updating people on what's happening. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into it, and this is the second one in the last week. So I'm hoping to boost that more in the future when I want to talk to you guys and have the open ability to answer your questions. Okay. Yeah. Ohio Chuz says the algorithm hates you. Absolutely. There's no doubt. Rumble, YouTube, X, Facebook, they all hate me. But I will say BitChute is great if you haven't subscribed on BitChute. But you can do live streams there. I have to figure out how to get that going. And I'm probably going to do that for my next live as well. Max Gone Postal says, will you have to get the digital ID? Well, I have no plans to get one, and I didn't wear a mask, and I didn't get vaccinated, so I don't think I'm going to fall for that. But, I mean, honestly, there will come a time where if you don't have food stocked up and you don't own your own property and you don't have things outside of the bank, like if your money isn't outside of the bank, if you don't have if you depend on grocery stores, that's going to be a problem. If you don't have your own grid and water options, you will be forced into starvation if you don't take it or don't have it. So that's going to be a big issue. Rostemi 2000 says hi. Hello to you as well. I'm still going to fight it tooth and nail to the very end, obviously. Ohio Chess says I subscribe. Thank you. Let me see. We have Wag the tail. How did you meet Dan? Dan Dix? You mean Press for Truth? Or yeah. Dan, I met him I met him online. I started watching his videos in 2006, 2007 at Press for Truth. And then I met him online. I started talking with him because he was excited that there was someone else in Canada at the time who's making independent media videos. Because remember, we were OGs. Like, this is before it became so trendy to be independent media. And I try to stick to that early day outlook, right? And I met him at the time. It was like 2012, 2013. I started talking to him. Met him in 2014 or 15. At the same time, I met Jeff Berwick and Lauren Southern and Tim Moen and Walter Block and Doug Casey and all those people. It was a very interesting time. Mark Emery, where we started doing these meetup events in places like Vancouver. And then I got to work with Dan a bunch, and I stayed at his house. He stayed at my house. We've got to know each other a lot over the years. I was just staying with him back in May in British Columbia. Really good person. We disagree on a lot of things too, but we are respectful about it. Let's see. Got a lot coming in on Rumble here. Let me just share the screen here for you guys for a moment. So we got this coming in on Rumble. I appreciate those who have, of course, subscribed on Rumble. Just a shout out to those on YouTube. I'm not saying don't watch on YouTube. Because I'm losing subscribers like crazy on YouTube. But I just really think that it's important that people subscribe on these other platforms as well. Anyway, so we have a bunch coming in here. Countess de Winter says, can you recommend other people similar to you, Corbett, Whitney Webb, Last American Vagabond, etc.? Any news sites? Well, you named basically almost everyone that I would recommend. Dan Dix, of course. Again, we have different outlooks, but I think he's a genuine person. That's something that's important. Derek Bros does good stuff, and we've had a lot of disagreements in the past as well, but I think he does good. Greg Reese, I really like Greg Reese, who will be speaking at Anarchapulco again. So if you're just joining us, anarchapulco.com, code WAM, W-A-M. I hope to see you here. But we have a few recommendations out there. I would say definitely no to We Are Change, definitely no to Tim Pool and people like that. They're pushing the mainstream alternative narrative. And I'm someone that used to be the co-host on We Are Change, and I'm going to be out there and say, be careful. It's not what it seems. But let me see. I love Iconic, ICKONIC, which is David Icke's platform, Gareth Icke, Jamie Icke, Christiane Van Wyck. Great work that they do there. And let me see. Censored.news is good. It's started by Mike Adams, who did a great job with that. I want to give a shout out, by the way, to the Eerie Fairy Tales. The Eerie Fairy Tales sent $5. Really appreciate that. Says appreciate your work, Josh. Well, and I really appreciate all the help we can get here. It does mean a lot. And you know, I'm getting over this cough that's been lingering for months. It makes a big difference because we have faced total censorship. As I've said many times on WAM before, I have to point it out though, because people call me a grifter all the time because I have promotions and ads, and I'm like, well, these are things that I think are real solutions. I make almost nothing off it. I've turned down $1 million contract with a major network because I don't want to read off a teleprompter. I want to be able to sleep at night. So this isn't, I mean, at the end of the day, I want to bring people things that could help them set them free, not just fear and panic, but the real realities, which are obviously often negative, but then bring solutions. And those solutions, if I can say, hey, here's a bunch of good companies, they're doing a good thing, you should check that out. Most of them I make nothing off of. I think that's a good thing. But, you know, some people will say, oh, that's grifting. Well, then everyone that works an office job that needs to eat is grifting then. I mean, it's silly. Obviously, you know, I put the stuff out for free, and I appreciate those that appreciate it, and I understand that I'm going to get detractors and trolls, and that's fine as well. But every cent that we get makes a big difference, and I truly appreciate it. So thank you, the Eerie Fairy Tales over on Rumble, for the $5 donation there in the chat. Rostemi 2000 says, I hate Rumble. YouTube was awesome. Unfortunately, not anymore. By the way, Josh, what happened to Alex Jones? Yikes. That's a tough one for me to go into because I still post on banned.video, which is shared on InfoWars, and it's one of the number one ways I reach people. In fact, it is the number one way I reach people, but have been openly calling out a lot of his narrative for years now. And he allows me to post it on there. So I have to give credit where credit's due, you know? And they've helped me a lot, but obviously I dramatically, I mean, I can't say that enough, dramatically disagree with so much of what he's been saying since 2015, honestly. Anyway, yeah, YouTube was awesome back in like 2013, 2014. And it was the land of opportunity online, right? Not anymore. Rumble is brutal. They are listed by the New York Stock Exchange, and they throttle me. But what can I say? It's a little bit easier to reach people on Rumble than it is on YouTube. At least I could still get 5 to 6 or 7,000 views on Rumble, where YouTube with 150,000 subscribers, I often get 400, 500 views, and then sometimes as much as 2,000, and I'm super excited when I get the 2,000s because I'm like, I've actually reached someone. But I'm banned from the suggested video part of YouTube, so no one new can see me. So that's why it's important to get it out. And by the way, why I'm losing subscribers, because people, like I said, people come to me and say constantly, "Hey, I subscribe to you," and then I'm unsubscribed suddenly. It's strange. Wag the Tail says you were both very young in the original videos, you and Dan. Yeah, absolutely. My original videos with Dan Dix, yeah, it's kind of cringy to watch, honestly. I don't like watching myself when I was younger, but who does? South Coast Painter says hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that, and I agree. I'm just going through some Rumble messages. I'll go right back to the YouTube and Twitter and Facebook messages right away. Happy Archangel 74B says Happy New Year's all. Be safe tonight. Absolutely. Rostemi 2000 says, what's your take on CJB books? I'm not sure what you mean by CJB. I'm missing something there. Let's see. He also says, I hate Alex Jones, period. I think he's a clone and a CIA agent. I mean, it's all open to interpretation. Like I said, I'm able to post what I want on band.videos, videos, so I do appreciate that. But yeah, most of what I post is noticeably different from what he promotes a lot of the time. And he's one of the reasons I got into independent media. Okay, I'm going to go to YouTube comments here because I got a ton of them. Man. Damn, I don't know how I'm going to keep up with this. I'm sorry if I missed your comment. We got a lot on 4 different websites here. Let's see. Dessert Tehe. I don't know what that is. But anyway, it says, wow, somebody send him your old computer, please. Yeah, well, I'm on the verge of, if this goes, I'm screwed. But I don't have money for another laptop. But I trust that things will work out because they always seem to somehow. Even if I'm down to negative $3, which I was earlier this year in my bank, I do the best I can to, and you know, I feel like if you truly are doing things for the right reasons, things turn over eventually. There have been times, there's no doubt, years ago where I had a decent amount of money, but you know, I've spent that on this while not making any money elsewhere. So it's always funny being called a grifter because it's like, really? I'll trade you my bank account. Pretty much anyone watching, I'll trade you my bank account, which is saying something because everyone's doing bad right now. Not everyone, but a lot of people. It's tough times. 1439315 says, would consider moving to Mexico. Old neighborhood is more ghetto over last 10 years. Yeah, it's beautiful here. I mean, it's not for everyone, honestly, but I love it. And I feel much more free here and much more safe, too. I can walk down the street at night at any time and never have an issue, which makes a big difference compared to living in Vegas before, or Phoenix, or Winnipeg, Canada, or Vancouver. These places that I've lived in the past. I mean, it's one of the safest places on earth. Totally contrary to what the media says. Dessert Tahe, sorry if I say your name wrong, but I don't know what it actually says. He says, I feel the enemy is smarter than letting us know they are forcing us into starvation, but they will do something. I think they kind of tell you what they're going to do before they do it. They usually do. I mean, the World Economic Forum is all about that. Let's see. Rumble throttle, says Doug209. Yeah, absolutely. The first month I was on Rumble, I got 5,000 subscribers. Within the 5 months after, I got up to about 11,000. And now it's been 5 years, and I'm at 17,100 subscribers on Rumble. So yeah, they definitely throttle. I'm not allowed to be seen by people, and it's very frustrating. 1439315 says, Josh S., you are not forgotten. I appreciate it. I'm not dead yet. Day will come. The Eerie Fairy Tale says, I'm watching on YouTube and Rumble. I appreciate it. Helps the algorithm. Let's see. AJ prides himself on not censoring, says Doug209. Yeah, I mean, there have been issues. I won't go into it with Band right now, but there have been issues. But I have been able to generally say what I believe. And honestly, if it wasn't for Band at this moment, I would have only about 20% of the viewership I have. That is substantial. Let me see. 1439315 says, even the cell phone can live stream these strange days. Yeah, I actually did do quite a few live streams through Streamlabs on my phone a couple years ago. Let me see. I got to check X here. No new comments on X, but nonetheless, if you're watching on X, hit that like button. It says 73 views, but 73 views doesn't mean 73 people watching. They need to fix that on X because it gives you the false idea that more people are watching than they are. Let's see. Facebook. What's going on Facebook here? One watching live. One watching live. What's this? Community standards? What's this? Okay. It's telling me to agree not to bully people. Cool. One person watching on Facebook with 8,900 followers and 5,000 friends. Yeah. Is that not shadow banning? Can anybody honestly say in their right mind that that's not shadow banning? Can the people that claim that I'm crazy for all this, that people just don't want to watch my videos, can people explain that to me? Like, that is like algorithmically impossible unless you're actually targeted. So frustrating. Okay, let me see. Back to Rumble. Rostemi 2000 was talking about Christopher John Bieknes. I haven't delved into his work at all, honestly. Let me see. There's some things like, because you have to understand, like I watched so much of, and I read so many of my books. A lot of these are just copies of the books I already read and then lost over the years. So I had to buy. I wanted to showcase some of the books I like on my shelf here. But I read all of them before. But so much of what I know comes from 20 years nearly, since 2006, of researching and reading, and also going through documentaries and scaling through files and archives and stuff myself, and reading transcripts from court records and stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff in the last couple of years that people mentioned that I'm not up to date on. And even though a lot of it, I've come to the same conclusions that they have independently. But I mean, there's a lot that I haven't read in the last few years because I'm focusing on the news absolutely every day. And there are days where it's 14 hours, days where it's 18 hours, days where I'm like, God help me, let's take a day off and lay down because my head hurts and I need some, I need some release from this world sometimes, because, a part of what I do is also my own personal therapy. So sometimes I'll be walking down the street and people will come up to me, hey, I love your videos and everything, which is awesome. I love it. But then they'll be like, hey, what do you think about the economy? What do you think about this thing, that thing? And when I'm not doing these videos, most of the time I'm like, oh, God, okay. Because it's like I get it out of my system when I do my videos, and I feel it. Obviously, most people don't get to do that. So I'm very blessed in that sense, but I get a lot of people that I can imagine would be me if I wasn't making these videos. It's like, I need to know more. I want to learn more about this stuff. When we're doing this is perfect for this. But yeah, I mean, there's been occasions where I've been surrounded by people on the street. It's weird where I'm recognized, and also I'm enough that I'm not recognized as much as it would make me annoyed. I'm not like a celebrity or anything, but it's like a couple times a week Mexico, I've been recognized in like Greece and Turkey and Egypt and random places. You name it. It's really strange. I love it, but it's really strange in Amsterdam and in Milan, in like London. Very strange. And I love it. But also, yeah, walking down the street, hey, what do you think about this really big macro issue? And can we talk about it for 45 minutes? Usually in that case, I'm like, my head hurts. And I've already done, at that point, probably hours and hours and hours of work at WAM. And it's like, okay, this is my time of solace where I'm trying not to think about it. I still do, honestly. And I'm happy. I eventually get into the conversation. But my father lives here in Puerto Vallarta. And I've had a few people come up to me and say, like, hey, I know your father. He's told me not to talk to you about any issues. And I'm like, well, no. I appreciate him saying that, by the way. Because I've complained to him a few times, like, oh, my God, someone wants to know about this 45-minute issue while I'm walking down the street trying to go and eat. But I'm always like, no, it's fine. We could talk about things, not an issue. But, yeah, there is an extent. And I sometimes I get very used to the idea that I can talk to people on camera and be able to get a lot of this stuff I'm thinking and feeling out, And a lot of people out there, I know most people out there, don't have the opportunity to do that. Anyway, Desert Tehe says, can they let you just take that question and absorb it into something more important to you? And just be short? Absolutely. And look, 99% of people are super polite about it. And again, if one of you is watching that has met me in person and has asked me questions, this isn't about you. Generally, it's just I've had issues where I've had people while I'm eating sit at my table, like just pay, like they just sat down. I'm like, do I know you? Sorry, what's going on? Like there's some people that go a little bit too far. I've had people come up to me filming me in my face and asking me questions without asking me first. If you asked me first, I would almost definitely say yes. But just like coming up to me, just like in my face, videotaping me, asking me questions, like, whoa, I'm on their channel now. Certain things you just don't do. Anyway, I'm going to look back at Rumble here. YouTube's up to about 120 something viewers out of 150,000, but I'm glad to see people are actually watching. Again, to those just joining us, hit that like button, share on social media, and Happy New Year's to you for 2026. Crazy year incoming. I got a big video coming out tomorrow, by the way, with Tim Pachota, the Liberty Advisor. Our predictions video, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours, I can't remember. We do this every single year. It's about 8 years in a row, and I hope people go and check that out. If you haven't hit the notification bell wherever you're watching from yet, please do. Helps us a little bit, even though the algorithm still usually doesn't even notify you. At least it's a bit more easy to reach people. So I appreciate that. Anyway, let's see. Rostemi 2000 says, do you believe in reptiles, etc.? Well, yeah, to a degree. I mean, David Icke goes into it in a macro scale, and I think people forget that and kind of dismiss it. They think of it as, oh, he's just saying that people are walking around turning into lizards and crawling up the wall and stuff. Nobody says it all. Like, there's that reptile brain, and we could clearly see that, and that also relates to the interdimensional consciousness that people I've talked about, the ancients talked about for eons. Now, the whole scale of it, I don't know, but I do know that we don't see 99% of what's in front of us. Our eyes only allow us to see what our brain allows us to see. We don't see most things in front of us. A lot of things that we don't see have effect on us. Love, hate, all these things. We feel them, we process them in our brain, but we don't see them. Because, people will say it's a feeling, but it's a frequency. And we see other frequencies. We see light. I see this microphone right here, which is literally built by frequency, projecting frequency through frequency to your ears through speakers that give out frequency. We are made of this. And I think it's the reptilian thing really comes down to that which is out of sight and sound in a lot of ways, but you can feel it. And you could see it in people. I've always said, when people say, who do you think runs the world? I always say, well, it's not who, it's what. The people at the very top are still puppets of something. whether you call it evil, some dark entity, some frequency, we still, at the end of the day, come to a point where it's not human that which is controlling those at the very top. Something I truly believe. Anyway, let me see on Rumble. The Airy Fairy Tale says, Josh, what is your favorite genre to read besides non-fiction? Well, to be fair, it's been years since I read fiction. Years and years and years. If I have time to read a book, I want to focus on nonfiction. But I was always a big fan of fantasy and a big fan of, fictional history taking place in another time. Something I was always a big fan of. Fantasy is something I grew up with the Lord of the Rings books and the Silmarillion and stuff like that. I was a big fan of. I mean, I don't read a lot of fiction books though, and it's been a while. So it's hard for me to even say now, looking back. But no, that's a good question. No one's asked me that before. Let me see. The Eerie Fairy Tale says, yeah, reptilian thing more complex than what people assume. Yeah, again, it's always a joke that people say, oh, the reptile people are coming, and they act like, oh, Justin Bieber and Cher are secretly demon reptile people. I do think it goes back to demonics, but it's not as simple as that, and people just like to make jokes about it. Just like tinfoil hats. Well, even though I'm not walking around in a tinfoil hat, to claim that it has no effect over certain EMF rays is ridiculous. Tinfoil hats do actually have a use, though now it's all aluminum foil and doesn't do anything for you. And I wouldn't be one to walk around with it, but they use this as just a way to debunk you without debunking you, as straw man. Same thing as like even just the term conspiracy theory, which the CIA came up with. So that we could look at anything that's a conspiracy as just a theory and it's crazy. A conspiracy is a real thing. I'm conspiring to scratch my face. Now I did it. Conspiring can mean multiple different things, and obviously the government conspires to take your money. That's not a theory, is it? It's pretty blatantly obvious that's what they do. That's what taxes are. So, yeah, the way they frame it is always it's disingenuous, obviously. Rostemi 2000 says, I'm so glad you don't say God bless you, etc. I remember a while back when you always praise God. Well, I believe in God. I'm very confused in where I stand on a lot of those things, but as I have been my whole life. But I don't think it's a non-virtuous thing to wish spiritual goodness to someone. That's just my take. Let me see. Historical fantasy is awesome, says the Eerie Fairy Tales. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was always fun for me, but yeah, again, I haven't watched anything like that in a very, very long time, or read anything like that. Sorry, I'm looking at the word "watched" as I'm saying this because I'm trying to see who's watching on YouTube, because on YouTube itself it says 40 watching now, but on Streamlabs it says 125 people watching now. I don't know who to believe. But if it's either of those, 40 watching on YouTube with 148,700 subscribers, that is quite silly. Anyway, Fram8045 on YouTube says, Happy New Year, Josh. Your views on new F-47 $300 million per plane to kill humans. Oh, it's sick. And they're utilizing AI technology to indiscriminately bomb people. So that's just the start of it. That's just a money sink. That's money laundering. What will come of this, which I believe is way more scary, is the Palantir technology. Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and these people pushing forward this AI drone technology to be able to indiscriminately bomb people, which they're already doing in places like Palestine. They're indiscriminately bombing kids with AI drones and also utilizing it to determine who gets food and who doesn't in the ration lines, which, again, is a testing ground to be used later on all of us. So it's the money side, obviously, annoying. But at this point, the hegemony system is a joke. $40 trillion in debt. It was stupid at 2. Like the GDP of the entire world, 75 trillion. So what are you going to do with that? And the banks are bankrupt. That's going to be a huge amount more money. The derivative exposures are through the roof. The banks have less than 1% cash to deposit ratio. The FDIC is completely bankrupt, can't cover your money more than 3%. It's a joke. And then spending money on that, it's insane. But the money is barely even the issue anymore because we already know they're purposely collapsing the economy to bring in the CBDC digital currency system. So, yeah, I mean, I think that in itself is an issue, but the main issue is that they're going to be utilizing technocratic technology in order to basically eliminate us like Skynet in the Terminator, or like a Logan's Run type tracking and tracing system where we're all domed off from the real world and trapped in our 15-minute cities, which Logan's Run is basically about. Everything's convenient and everything is zero carbon and all that kind of stuff, and we're just stuck in this little area, tracked and traced everywhere, and you're not allowed to live past a certain point because it disadvantages others, so they say. So no one sees the real world, but everything's convenient, and tyranny comes under the guise of convenience, my friend. So that, I believe, is the major part of it. So the F-47 fighters and all that kind of stuff, it's all just a build up to the overall technocratic umbrella. Let me see. The Eerie Fairy Tale says, I tried to clickety-clack more zeros into my account like they do, and it didn't work. Yeah, okay. Well, I agree with Rostemi 2000 when he says free Palestine. But saying F God, I just don't. What's the point? It's just we can have different views, and the viewers here at World Alternative Media are all across the board and all over the place on that. But the idea of a consciousness that we can all be connected to, I think, is a good thing. And we all determine things as our brain is just a piece of flesh that happens to work as an antenna that takes in information in different ways. You could have a computer from Best Buy that acts slowly with the same information, and then a massive computer database that launches missiles that takes in information far faster, same information but faster. And brains are a lot like that. Human beings are a lot like that. So, yeah, I agree with the free Palestine part, obviously. I free all human beings on Earth who are under attack by a nefarious dark cult of demonic entities, pure evil, in its most clear form. I would certainly agree, free Palestine, free humanity from the chains of statism and collectivism, which has enslaved us for thousands and thousands of years. Sig Ventures 1824 says, Happy New Year. Greetings from Norway. Do you have roots in Sweden and Scandinavia? You look kind of Swedish. Iceland. That's what you're seeing. The Danish influence on Iceland is probably that. I'm Native American. I'm Spanish. I'm Dutch. I'm French. And I'm Icelandic, which I guess in turn means Danish, and the Spanish comes from the Dutch when the Spanish invaded the Dutch and infiltrated, because 50% of my family is Dutch. That's a big chunk of it, but of that, I believe probably about 50% of that is Spanish. I'm not giving my DNA to Ancestry for that though. Where's Timmy 2000 says exactly. What can you do is a real question, says Archangel 74B. This is why I think that it's so important when I do my videos, that we need to work as individuals. Look, the government depends on the dependence of the masses. You've all probably heard me say this before, but the overall agenda isn't nation against nation, religion against religion, race against race. It's none of that. It's not ideology against ideology. The end goal is to bankrupt us of our very humanity. And what is humanity? Humanity is based in individualism, self-responsibility. So when they say to you, collective responsibility, we need to collectively work together to do this and unify, it's a misnomer. It's bullshit, because collective responsibility is slavery. It's a oxymoron. Individual responsibility comes down to what you do on a daily basis to make sure that you are good in life so that you can help others. And when they depend on you in this scheme to bankrupt humanity itself, because this is what it is, it's a war on humanity itself, then what you need to do as an individual is prepare accordingly. What do you need the most in life? Food. You need a bit of money on you so you can afford things, because money will never go away. There will always be a credit system, because that's how humanity works. That's how bartering works. That's how the market works. And that's what leads to people creating things and doing the best product for the best price in the idea of initial capitalism, which has been bankrupted by corporatism in recent times. We as individuals need to withdraw from the system, not be dependent on banks, not be dependent on grocery stores, not be dependent on, public school systems that the government's going to indoctrinate your kids at, not to be dependent on other people all the time to do everything for us. They say, hey, you're sitting on your hands if you're not voting. No, you're sitting on your hands if you're voting, because if you're voting, you are waiting for some politician to fix the problems of other politicians for you. This has been going on for thousands of years. We as individuals need to withdraw from that system as much as humanly possible. Now, is it easier said than done? Yes, literally everything that's ever happened on Earth has been easier said than done. That is not an excuse. It's not a pretext to be apathetic. It's important that all individuals that are watching out there all find little ways to slowly whittle away their dependence on the system, because we are all, to some degree, dependent on the system. Homesteading, all these different things are great options. Now, everyone's bankrupt, everyone's poor. I get that. We can still withdraw and I'm not talking about invest, but like insure our wealth little by little all the time. We can still have tower gardens in our home, even if you're in an apartment, though that's going to be an issue with digital IDs with the rent. You can still grow food inside in tower gardens inside a small apartment in New York City if you want. And people will say, again, like, well, then what are the solutions for people that rent that don't have any money? Honestly, there's not many. I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty bad, but you could avoid a huge part of it by having storable foods if you can get it, by having money outside of the banking system and also outside of people. Okay, I'm going to get carried away here, but when we hear the cashless system, it's really bad, but you can use a gun to kill a bunch of innocent people. You could use that same gun to save a bunch of people from being slaughtered. It's very important to understand how you could utilize something like privacy coins and cryptocurrency, which can help you later on not be tracked and traced. I know it's ironic, but it is actually a solution to a lot of the cashless things. But gold and silver are very important. We've seen how the flood into that has happened in the last year, but also if you're living in an apartment and you can't afford much, find a way to get planters. You could build your own tower garden. You could water it. You can do that inside. People say it's unrealistic. Well, okay, fine. Just don't do anything then. This is an option. If you have the ability to move out of a big city, if you have the ability to own your own property and have some land, do it for sure. Do it before it's too late. It's already, like, the clock has hit midnight already. Not literally. We're almost at 2026 here, unless you're watching on the other side of the world. In that case, Happy New Year to the gentleman that was from Norway that's talking. But when we are dealing with this, the solutions, unfortunately, yes, they come down to us as individuals. And okay, I'm seeing some fighting going on in the comments, and I don't know. Go ahead, it helps the algorithm. But I want to give people real solutions here, and again, those solutions do come down to you. I'm not waving some saving grace here saying do this and everyone's going to be better overnight and everything's going to be fine. That's just not how the world works. Humanity is based on individual responsibility and self-sustainability, and that's the basis of freedom as well. So the idea of humanity and freedom are totally synonymous, and the more we wait for government to fix things, collectivism, two wolves and a sheep deciding what to have for dinner, who will then steal your money, point a gun at you, and use your money to demand that you do things that you don't want to do as they destroy your humanity. The people that are murdering men, women, and children, the people that are touching kids and using and they have blackmail on them by governments like Israel, etc. I mean, this is the most obvious example of a cult. Yet people still look at, oh, well, what about that side? That side's a bit better. What about this? What about that? The whataboutisms. That side would be worse, so we got to take that side or else we're going to be stuck with that side. Is it going to be worse, or is it going to be the same thing because this script was written long ago? At the end of the day, humanity loses eventually if we are dependent on that. All roads lead to Rome, so build a road that's less convenient, that's gravelly, that's bumpy, that's slower, off to the side, and build your own little nest egg so that when the Great Reset eventually comes and then falls, as the Tower of Babel will, then you can build a bright, beautiful new civilization in the aftermath of all of that. And I hope people take that seriously. Anyway, I see people arguing, and it is what it is. But I have a lot of people commenting on multiple different platforms right now, and I want to try and keep up as much as possible. But let's see. David 1977 says, Josh, with the recent discovery of what is under the pyramids in Egypt, and that you were personally there, why do you think anyone hasn't interviewed you about it? Very good question. I have been honestly invited to a couple interviews, not major shows, but I've been interviewed or asked for my presence in a few different interviews, which I turned down because I was just too busy. But yeah, and no major networks have picked it up. I went there. I saw the entrance to these underground tunnels. I talked about it inside the subterranean chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which almost no one has been to. I illegally recorded it. It's like 10 years in prison to record this kind of stuff, I was told. Same with the Osiris shaft, the other tunnel system between the Sphinx and the pyramid. And I've seen this stuff for myself, and they say, oh, well, this is new information. It's shocking. It's a shocking discovery. Many of us have been talking about it for years and years, decades even. I talked to the son of one of the gatekeepers of the pyramids, who himself wrote, who was like in his 90s when he died 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. He was climbing through all these tunnels from Saqqara all the way, Abu Sir, all the way to the pyramids, and then all the way to like in Giza, all the way to Dashur. This stuff has been known for a long time, but they've concreted a lot of these places up. They bricked them up. If you've ever seen the 1997, I believe, documentary, 96 or 97 documentary on the Osiris shaft in Egypt, again, a place I went and looked at myself. It fills with water and everything. It's at the Nile table. There was a big archway that you could see on the show when Zahi Hawass was showing this reporter down there. And when asked about it, he said, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. Why is there an ancient archway that's bricked up down there? It's a massive tunnel system, and if you go off to the graveyard outside of the Great Pyramids on the side, if you ever walk around there, you could fall down holes really easy. You have to be careful where you walk. There are massive holes and tunnels going everywhere, and some say it's ventilation ducts. It looks exactly like I saw with Göbekli Tepe, not Göbekli Tepe, when I was in Derinkuyu in Turkey, which is the underground city. Frem8045 says, Josh, no offense, but I think Bitcoin is a PSYOP financial trap. Your thoughts? I agree. But again, it's the technology that is being created that anyone can create their own version of in their own home. With the with the privacy coin system, you can build your own privacy coin that's completely encrypted and untraceable. We could talk about quantum computing and all that. I agree. Like, Bitcoin can be used privately and decentralized off the main surveillance database of the blockchain. There are tools you could use for that. So technically you could actually use Bitcoin in a way where you won't be as shanghaied by it. With the government's involvement, they've done nothing but screw it up and push it to be centralized and push promissory notes. Definitely against all that. The privacy coin thing, though, is what I've always been supporting. I'm a big fan of Epic Cash. I have been for years. It's not about how the price goes. It's how it is a tool to be outside of the system. So when that system becomes completely surveilled, you'll have something outside of it. So that's my thoughts anyway on it. I don't know. I've been looking at Bitcoin since 2009 and have, talked about it on my channel since 2013. Let me see. Shanovision 416. Oh my God, this question. How is that red-headed money guy? I thought he said monkey guy. I was like, he's not a monkey. Money guy, who used to be your co-host back 8 years ago or so. What was his name again? That's John Snyson. Yeah, haven't done a video with him since about 2020 or so. He's doing his own thing in Canada and working his job, and some things didn't work out with us, so we went our separate ways. But he's doing well. I talked to him not that long ago in a chat that I'm in with him. Usually we talk to Tim Pachote these days or Mark Gonzalez. And Mark Gonzalez is our main gold and silver guy, a good friend of ours that lives here in Puerto Vallarta, who you'll also be able to meet at Anarchapulco if you come out. Again, code WAM, W-A-M, shameless plug. Fram8045 says, God bless G. Edward Griffin. Big shoes to fill, Josh, but you're on your way to fill them. Just stay on the path and no falling for honey traps and hot-blooded beast. Yeah, well, I know. Well, the honey traps are everywhere, and it's easy to fall off when you are mentally in anguish with stress due to everything that's going on. You have to have a strong head, and a lot of people fall into a lot of traps, and some of them are just individual traps, like their own honey trap, which is set out by these psyops. Again, alcohol, things like that. Even marijuana. Like, I used to smoke a lot of that when I was a teenager. I don't smoke it at all anymore, but because I become autistic if I do and I can't talk to anybody. Way different. I don't know what's in it these days. Like, my God, it's so different from what I remember when I was a teenager. But anyway, potent stuff. But I don't have anything against people smoking it. But I do think that there is a big psyop with that too. Just keeping people docile, basically. And I think that keeps people from exceeding at certain things. I remember many years ago, and I'm going to let you in on a secret from 2017. I don't know if I should. It's okay. I could say this. I was having dinner with G. Edward Griffin and his wife Pat back in 2017, and it was in Bozeman, Montana. And G. Edward Griffin, we're talking, and we're having a good conversation. And as bad as it was, I got like some rum drink, and he got a pitcher of beer, like a massive pitcher of beer, and he was in his late 80s at the time. Now he's 94. Just incredible. I love that man. But his wife looks at him and says, I haven't seen you drink that much in like 50 years. Because they've been together since the 40s. And I was laughing my ass off. He says, well, I got to keep up with the young guys. But, I mean, that's pretty damn good. 50 years of not drinking as much as a pitcher of beer. It's easy to fall into. Alcohol is like the easiest addiction to fall into, and people don't even know they have an addiction until often it's almost too late. Never too late unless you're yellow in the skin, but until it's almost too late, and it's a great tragedy in my opinion. So I appreciate the correlation there, Fram8045. I truly appreciate that because G. Edward Griffin is one of my favorite people in the world and is one of the main reasons I do what I do. I don't know if I'll make it to 94. I don't even know about 64, but I'm happy to do my best to fill his shoes as much as I humanly can, and I've told him that personally many times. He's the kind of guy who in the past has called me at 4 a.m. to ask me about ancient civilizations and my thoughts on the pyramids, and he's the only person I'll take a call from at 4 a.m. unless it's like my mother or father and it's an emergency. So absolutely love G. Edward Griffin. Let me see. David Kovitz Sovereignty. Hey, what's that big ass pyramid over there? Oh, that's nothing. LOL. Oh, you mean the Cholula pyramid? The Cholula pyramid is easily the biggest pyramid in the world. There's also the Pyramid of the Sun. I'm planning on going there soon. I want to do that in 2026. I still haven't gone there, and I've been all over the world. I've been to 44 countries and not to that pyramid, which is practically in my backyard. It's a bitch to go outside of Mexico City. I have asthma. I'm coughing all the time around there. I have issues with the elevation. Call me a pussy all you want. I don't care. It's a big issue with my lungs, which I got from as an autoimmune disorder, which I mentioned in my last live stream, due to getting injected when I was 12 years old with a flu shot. So let me see. Anti-vaccine I5L says Monero XMR was the most bullshit altcoin crypto chart outside memes or new things like Hyperliquid. I think that I've mostly focused on things like Epic Cash when it came to privacy coins for the last few years. It still works. I mean, show me where. I mean, there have been a few hiccups on the Monero chain, definitely, but I'd like to see someone get tracked and traced through all these hack fests and everything, hackathons. I don't see it as a bad thing, though eventually it will be outdone. Let me see. The Airy Fairy Tale says, good point. I quit everything bad and eat much better food. We got to keep our wits about us, especially in the coming years. Yes, and I battle that all the time. I make a lot of mistakes with that, especially this past year because I've been stressed about things. But nonetheless, that's on me, and I need to fight my way out of that as everyone else has to. The Eerie Fairy Tale says on Rumble, I just ordered the book The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Larkin Rose is a really cool person, a friend of mine. We've had him on the show a lot, going back 9 years now. My goodness, 9 years. More than that, because, I interviewed him before I met him in person. So 10 years. Time goes by fast. But, Larkin Rose is great. The Most Dangerous Superstition is a very important book for everyone. And Candles in the Dark sessions are really important to go to. And, of course, he also has Jones Plantation, the movie, which is absolutely incredible. I urge people to see Jones Plantation if you haven't already. I remember years ago seeing his cartoon on it and seeing his writings on it. Absolutely incredible work. And you can find Jones Plantation on Amazon Prime. You have to pay for it because it's an independent thing. It's not owned by Amazon, but you can find it on there. But you could also find it, I'm pretty sure, on Jones Plantation's website. So you can check it out there. Hulk76 says alcohol is the devil. Absolutely. I agree. It's awful. And I'm going to be pinching myself and pushing back against myself when it comes to that tonight at these fireworks parties. The Eerie Fairy Tale says on YouTube, yep, just watched Jones Plantation. Let me see. Let's look at X. We actually do have some people commenting on X. Sorry for not commenting to all y'all on X, but I wasn't getting comments for the longest time. Sam Deacon says, hi Josh, Happy New Year from the UK. Keep going, be watching your stuff for years. I really appreciate that, Sam. Means a lot. Leanne Machine 35, thank you for reposting the stream on X. Sam Deacon says, I've reposted the live stream on X. Says there is 79 watching on X. Well, it says 98 views now. It's all over the place, but it's not actually the amount of people watching. It's the amount of people that have seen it on their feed while they're scrolling. X is really stupid how they count views, and it's also it's impossible to reach people no matter how many followers you have on there if you say certain things that are in the algorithm considered negative, as Elon put forward a couple years ago now. But by the way, if you haven't followed us on X, it's at World Alt Media. We appreciate any support we can get on there just to be able to reach more people because it's brutal right now. Let me see here. It currently says one person watching on Facebook still. One person. 5 likes. One person. Does that make any sense to you? 8.9K followers and 5,000 friends. One person watching on Facebook. Neil Rademacher, who's a friend of ours, he's a really cool guy, met him multiple times, says, I was in Eureka a few days ago. Mendocino here on an off-grid homestead in the Redwoods. Doing it the way you should, man, and I appreciate it. Good to hear from you, Neil. All right. Well, how long have we been going here? 1 hour and 22 minutes. All right. Andrew Gibson, 5861, says, I got autoimmune issues too, going to try 600 milligrams of NAC every day, see if that helps. I've been taking NAC, and it does help a lot, especially when I had kind of a cold before, but it hasn't really fixed the main issues that I have with inflammation in the lungs. My asthma is absolutely brutal. So, I mean, it does help a bit though. And it does clear things out. So you don't have things in your lungs. I just haven't seen the return as far as it fixing things. And I've heard Muline is good for that. I've taken Muline before. It tastes absolutely awful, but it's worth it to, live, obviously. Let's see. The Eerie Fairy Tale says, well, happy birthday, Sam. Who's Sam? Oh, shit, that's my name, Sam Jones. I see people commenting. I don't know what's going on. There's a whole bunch of comments, and I'm behind on some things. But anyway, yeah, Jones Plantation is a great movie. I definitely urge people to check that out. Nature Boy NBN says, Josh, how goes it, amigo? I am the second stage manager next year at Anarchapulco. Good to hear from you, man. It was great talking to you at the last one. Sorry we haven't caught up since we met in Acapulco last year, man. But definitely want to get on that while you're here in Puerto Vallarta. Really excited for the event. And for those, again, that are just tuning in, hit that like button, first of all. Helps us on the algorithm. Second, check out anarchapulco.com. Buy your tickets. Code WAM, W-A-M. It'll be 10% off on your tickets when you use that code. So definitely check that out. Let me see. Well, 12 years sober, says Hulk76. Cali sober. Happy New Year, bro. Happy New Year to you as well. That is, it's a huge accomplishment. Some people will laugh like, well, why did you even do that in the first place? Why did you drink? Why did you do those drugs? Whatever it might be. Well, I think it says a lot about a person and willpower to be able to do those things and then say no and then be sober. I think I have a lot of respect for those people. And I think people should really see that as an inspiration. Not just, you don't have to be a drinker or anything. For junk food, for carbs, for things that you eat that you shouldn't be eating all the time, at least, for habits you might have, for your anger issues that you might have, that willpower. I think it's really impressive. Nature Boy NBN says, yeah, me too. No worries, man. It is going to be a banger this year. Absolutely. I don't know who is actually speaking there in person, but I know that, it says David Icke and it says Greg Reese. I don't know if they're actually there in person. You might know better than me, man. But Gareth Icke, I think, is definitely going to be there. Obviously, Jeff Burke's going to be there. I'll be speaking there. Dan Dix is going to be speaking there. Dr. Andrew Kaufman, Max Egan, there's going to be Christian Yordanov and Charlie Robinson and, Vit Jedlicka, the president of Liberland, Ernest Hancock, who I go back with a long way. I've stayed at his house a few times. Really good guy who doesn't get enough credit for the work he does on the radio all these years. But it's going to be good, and I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to see a bunch of people out there. So, again, code WAM, my friends, W-A-M, as it is with most of my affiliates, which I can't even attach for some reason in the description of these live streams. It won't let me. It drives me crazy. But alas, here we are. Let me see. I'm going to check X again. Yeah. I'm going to be tuning out right away, my friends, because, well, it's New Year's. And I know a lot of you guys want to get out and see family, or you want to stay home and you don't give a shit about it, which I don't blame you for either, because it's just another day. But wait, we're having a birthday party, Josh. You're invited, says the Airy Fairy Tales. All right. But yeah, if you're doing nothing, well, Happy New Year all the same. Though I do believe the New Year's should probably start on April 21st at the, with the zodiac sign, it seems to be where the seasons change, but that's just me. And also to those going out, I know some of you want to get out of here and go and join some friends. It's one of those things where the party starts around 12 a.m. I hate that, man. It drives me crazy. I don't like having to wait until late to go and meet with friends. Though I'm used to it in Puerto Vallarta as someone that's kind of got insomnia and, lives in a party city. A lot of people just, the parties start late. Dinner starts late. Everything starts late. But it is annoying. I hate the waiting. That's why another reason I wanted to connect with all of you watching right now and get this out there, because I didn't get any videos up today, and I wanted to make sure that I could reach a bunch of you out there today and have a conversation. This live streaming stuff is fun. I like it. I'm not very good at it yet. I still have to figure out how to put stuff on the screen and do all that fancy stuff that these Gen Zers are doing. But nonetheless, it's an opportunity to reach people and to answer questions that I know people have. As I said at the beginning of the video, hit the like button, share on social media, hit the notification bell, subscribe for sure on Rumble and BitChute at World Alternative Media, and on YouTube if you haven't yet already. And of course, find us on other social medias, Telegram. We're on Brighteon, we're on Odyssey and stuff like that. Hive, Steemit, Vigilante.tv at Josh Sigurdson and stuff like that. Of course, find our links on our other actual reports where we have real world solutions that are available to you there. And make sure to stay tuned for our video tomorrow with Tim Pachote, the Liberty Advisor, where we have a huge blockbuster of a prediction video going up that I hope you all go and check out. And, stay tuned for a lot of stuff coming up in the new year. We have so much going on. My head hurts just thinking about it. But, well, the news doesn't sleep. And I think that we're walking into a dragon's den here, but I think that it's all about how we handle it. Like I've said so many times before, as individual free human beings. Again, we hope that people check out our latest videos that we posted in this last week. We have a lot of them up that some of them didn't catch the eye of people, didn't get notified for it, or people being unsubscribed randomly. That doesn't help either. But I appreciate everyone watching. I appreciate everyone sending in their comments. Once again, I have to say thank you to Erie Fairy Tale for the $5 donation earlier on Rumble. It makes a great difference, and I truly appreciate it. And, of course, to those that are watching this non-live, I mean, might not be as fun for you guys, but nonetheless, make sure to comment below in the after, post-recorded video. Anyway, I'm losing my mind here. I can't even think straight. Nature Boy says, live is the only way I do it. No safety net. You're doing great, Josh. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I will say that all the videos I do it could basically be live because almost all of them, except for interviews, I just record and edit live and then start the recording, start the video, end the recording, and then post the full thing up. Maybe it's not as fancy as it used to be, but I find it easier to get news up faster and get things to people faster. Interviews, obviously, I have to layer it with like images and the side-by-side framing, but generally, yeah. I mean, we do it live, as you said. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Absolutely. Let's do a swapcast together. I agree. We should definitely do something like that soon. And I want to bring in a bunch of people. I need to figure out how to use Streamlabs to get interviews on where you could hear them and see them, and I could put them on the screen during an interview via things like, I guess, what do you even use for that? Like, I tried with Zoom years ago. I couldn't figure it out. It drove me crazy. You have to be like a rocket scientist to understand a lot of this streaming stuff. So, all the same. Wag the Tail says, totally avoided Flat Earth. I didn't avoid it. I just don't really want to go into a long tangent about that right now. I've been asking people for years, show me how on a flat Earth you could have latitude and longitude. I get in a lot of trouble for not. I don't believe NASA. I don't believe that we went to the moon. I don't believe any of that. I actually think the Earth is probably hollow, just based on the underground civilizations I've studied. But I don't want to go all into flat Earth today. StreamYard. StreamYard. That's what I keep getting in. Whenever I'm on another person's show, they use StreamYard. That's what I think Alex Jones has, and I think that's what who was it that I just went on? Union of the Unwanted. That's what it was. So, okay, yeah, I got to figure that out. It's just a mind fuck trying to deal with streaming. Anyway, I'm rambling on, and it's... let me see where I'm at. It's 7:36 p.m. So I still have a couple hours. I still have work to do. I have to write an article, and I have to get the video for tomorrow ready to go so that I get it up so I don't sleep in tomorrow because I have to stay out late and hang out with people. I don't have to. I've decided that. I've already put it into the ethos. So anyway, I appreciate everyone joining me. Nature Boy, hey, send me a message for sure. I want to definitely hear from you. Send me an email because I lost track of yours, and I want to make sure that we connect because we should definitely do something like that, a swapcast. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to Nature Boy NBN over there on Rumble. If you haven't yet already, you can right-click his name in the chat, I'm pretty sure, and open up his channel in another tab. Anyway, I appreciate everyone watching, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.